Today, got me pruners, and we're going to be pruning the apple tree and the grapevine, and we're going to have a look at the honeyberry as well. So let's get started. So fruit trees need pruning back, otherwise they'll just go wild and they'll be growing in all sorts of shapes. The aim is always to give it a nice sort of goblet type sort of shape with plenty of air between the branches. So we're going to start off, the first thing to start off with is we're going to cut off any of these branches that are close to other branches, these ones that are growing into the canopy, and any of these little tiny little ones that are around, and then we'll look at shaping it. So let's get started by just chopping off some of these inner branches that are actually not required anymore. So we're going to chop these off right back. This is a little branch that's just inside the tree. This one's far too close to that one, so we're going to chop that off. Now this one here, it's quite a strong branch, but it's growing right between these two. So now when you're doing trees, make sure you've got bypass secateurs. So there's two types of secateurs. Some that are called bypass, and that is where the blade passes by the main part here. And then there's anvil type, where the blade comes down onto a flat plate. Now use bypass ones when you're trimming, because that gives you a cleaner cut. With anvil ones, what you'll find is you probably end up crushing the branch. So again, this one here, I'm going to take it right off there. This one's just coming straight into the canopy and crossing over. Okay, so this tiny one is inside the canopy. This one again inside the canopy. This one inside. This one's growing inwards. This one is growing inwards, but we'll leave it because it's actually not got anything. It's growing out there, but we'll leave it because it's growing out into a space there. This one's growing inwards, inwards, inwards. We're going to trim these ones off. So they're growing in. And we're just going to take that one off because it's growing inwards. And just go around to the other side. This is growing in. This is growing straight out parallel. Okay, so there's a little one there. We'll just get rid of that. So I think we've got rid of most of the in branches. There's this one that's here that's growing alongside underneath this other one. This one here is coming up and it's coming into this one here. It's going to cluster with this one. So we get rid of that. And I think, and there's a couple of little ones that are just down the bottom here. This one again is shooting up into where this branch is, so take that off. Now this one is getting quite close to this one, but it should be okay, because we'll sort that out in a minute. So we've taken off most of the inward branches, and now we need to actually shape and sort the tree out. Now, when you're doing this, it's important to note the difference between different buds. Let me bring you closer. So, what you'll find is that you've got leaf buds and flower buds. Now, flower buds are, at this time of year, are reasonably straightforward to see. So you can see here, there's like a little, so I've got a bulbous little bud that's sort of growing out from the branch, and more here, they're growing out from the branch. And you'll normally find those on 2 and 3 year old wood. On the new wood, that was from last season, you'll see the leaf nodes, and these are the little ones that are like pointy. So they're flush to the actual wood and they're pointy up. So these are leaf nodes, and this is where the leaves and new branches will come from. Now, the purpose of trimming these trees and is to actually invigorate growth. So what we want to do is so the more you cut these back to a leaf node, the more they will grow on, and that will also thicken up the branch further on. So for instance, this one here is coming around and it's shooting up there, but it's still quite a weak branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to a outward facing leaf node. So we'll say out here. I'm just going to take a 45-degree cut. And again on here, this one is coming down and got a couple of nice flower buds there, but we want this one here, so we're going to cut that there. Now this one is growing up into the canopy, but we want upwards. Really what we want to do is it to come out this way. So we're going to look up for an ideal leaf node that's here, and we're going to cut that one looking at the height of the tree there. I'm going to cut it there, that's the most ideal one. And again, this one, this will just go shooting straight up, but we're going to cut it. We're going to take it off there, and there's a leaf node there that will bring the tree out that way. Now we're going to leave that one there. That's a nice little branch coming out this way. Now this one down here, it's low, it's a bit low for the tree. We don't want too much. We're going to take that off completely. This one over here, again, it's shooting up that way. Ideally what I wanted to do is to span out this way a bit more. So we can find a node there, and we're just going to cut that off there. We're just going to work our way around. Now while we're around at this side, this rootstock, it's a dwarf rootstock, so the tree will get to about 3 to 4 meters if you just let it grow. Now originally this was the main root, and it had a main leader here, and when we got the tree it was in a bit of a poor shape, and the main leader had broken off, and this new branch became the new leader. Now what will actually happen with the tree is that it will send all the growth hormone and all the growth and sap up to the highest point of the tree, because it wants to reach for the sky. So we don't want, so this is about the right height for, we don't want to get much higher than this for picking apples. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this one back down, and I'm going to pick off a nice node that's there. We're just going to trim that out. Now the problem is this is now shorter than these other ones. So again, it will just send it up to the next highest one. So it will probably send it all up to this one and this one, and we'll get massive growth off of there. So we're going to take these, and we're just going to find an outward facing leaf node, 45-degree angle cut. Now this is all a bit congested here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sticks coming out of here. So what we'll do is we'll take that one off, and we'll take that one off, and we'll take this little one off, and this little one off here. So that gives us 3 nice growth points, and then we're just going to trim this one down to an outward facing bud. Right, on this one I think what we'll do is we'll actually take that down a little bit more. Right, coming around to this branch, again, this is going to be shooting up, and ideally what we want, this is the nice branch coming off of here. So we could just cut this down at this point here and get rid of the whole of this top bit and let it come out. But what we'll do is just to make sure that we're actually covering our options, we'll cut it there, and then either this one will come out this way or that one will get stronger. Right, coming out to this branch here, this bottom branch, once you get apples on it, it bows down, it's downwards facing, it's coming off. So that's not too bad. So this one ideally is coming into there. What we really like is to come this way actually. So we're going to cut it back a bit more to a leaf node that's coming this way. Now this one, this is growing into this branch. So we're going to take that off. And again, this one, we're going to bring it back. So if I was to cut it off up here, you get a little bit of growth. If you cut it off down here, you get a huge amount of growth. It will grow proportionally to how much you cut off. So we're looking at the other branches that are at this level, and they're all coming around about here. So we'll just find a nice node there. So there's a nice one. And again, we're just going to sort this out. There's a nice node. This is a horizontal branch that's just coming out horizontally. And that one there. And again, this one, and let's have another look at this one. So trimming apple trees is very much about take a trim, reassess, and see where we are with it. So this is the only one left to do, and it's sort of growing over into where this one is going to be shooting out from. But we've got a couple of flimsy ones here. What we'll do on this one is we'll find the best leaf node, which is this one that's growing this way. That's coming out this way, and then either this one or this one, depending on which one takes off and which one does best, we'll keep that. So there we go. I think that's pretty much fully trimmed. Let's take that little one off in the middle. And it looks a bit harsh, but we've got plenty of flower nodes growing along here. Ideally what we want is we want nice strong branches, and then we want these flower nodes that are coming off and ones that will flower along here. And this is a good example along here. So we've got this nice strong branch that's coming up here, and then we've got loads and loads of leaf nodes coming off here. Now we've probably got too many. If they all pollinate, you know, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sets of flowers and apples there, which is going to be too much for the tree, especially on this branch. So we'll see which pollinate, and then we'll thin out as necessary. And again, this one here got lots of nice flower nodes. Got lots of flower nodes coming up off of these branches, off of here as well. Loads off of this one, loads off of this one. And by trimming it all back, it just means that actually all the wood where you've trimmed back will thicken up. It will produce on new growth, which you can obviously decide whether you want to keep or trim back next year. But by trimming everything back, you strengthen the tree in the long run, and you get a better crop from it. So that's the apple tree done. Let's go and have a look at the grapevine. Right, so first thing to note, I've cleaned off the secateurs with a little surgical wipe. The last thing you want to do is when you're trimming stuff is if you've got disease in one tree or bush, last thing you want to do is transfer it over to another one. So make sure you disinfect your secateurs between between prunings. Right, so this is our grapevine. And if I show you at the top here, what we did was we, it's about getting on for 3 years old now. Last year we got some little tiny pea-sized grapes off of it. So hopefully this year, we're hoping we'll get a decent crop of grapes off it now that it's been in a few years. But we've got it coming off this main part of the bottom here, and then we've got it running across 5 different lines in the fruit cage. So last year we were promoting the growth really across the actual grapevine. So this year it's going to be all about, now we've got our 5 lines established, is actually making sure that the plant promotes growth into those 5 lines. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to take out anything that is not part of those 5 lines. Now we want to leave these ones on, these little side shoots. This is where we'll get the fruit coming from this year. But anything that's not growing in the right direction or not part of those main lines. Now over here we've got this one coming up here and this one, and we put a second one along here because we weren't sure whether this one was going to be strong enough. But obviously that means that this one is now supporting this line and this line down here. So what we're going to do is going to come round and we're going to take that one off, and making sure at this point, just make sure you're actually cutting the right one. So this is this one. Just cut the tendrils off of it. Just being careful here because it's connected, it was sort of intertwined with the other one. As I say, the reason we did this was the this particular one here didn't look particularly healthy, so we had this in as a had that particular one in as a as a reserve really, just to make sure that actually if the main one died off or something happened, we were fine. So just being extra careful because there's obviously 2 that are just right next to each other, that we're cutting the right one. Last thing we want to do is end up cutting the wrong one. Right, so now let's have a quick look at the rest of the wood. As I say, this is not required anymore. This is old wood, it's not required anymore. They can tell which is the new wood because it's nice and flexible. The old wood is just brown and brittle. Again, we're just going to cut back anything that is old. And any little spurs and growth off the main leaders that we don't need. So that's doing okay. So that's going up there. This little one here doesn't need to be there. Again, we left this one in place as a reserve, but the other one's done okay, so we can get rid of that. So this one's coming off of here. And again, this is a nice little reserve one. So now we've done the main pruning and we've got rid of everything else. There's one around there I not spotted. I don't want this growing out around the back. I want it all going that way. So now we've done the main part of the pruning, we need to have a look at these runners. Now these runners grew all the way out last year, and as you can see, by the time they get down to this end, they've getting quite woody and spindly. So we want to promote some growth in those. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those back by about a third. And this one as well, let's take that one back to there. The middle one, this is quite a strong, healthy one. We're just going to take that back to there. So we're going to take quite a bit off of this one. What we don't want to happen is the there to be one dominant leader. And again, this is a shorter one, so we'll just take that back a little bit. The aim is to try and get them all about the same length. Therefore, they've all got the same dominance. And then finally, on this one that made it all the way to the end of the actual cage, we're going to bring that back and we're just going to trim that there. And there we go, and that is all tidied up. Cut off these wispy bits. And that should be good for the season to come. So it's all nicely trimmed back. As I say, trimming back stuff just means you invigorate it. You get your new growth, you can shape it and do it as you want. There's a bit there that I don't need. And then what will happen with the grapevine is that this will shoot out side shoots where they'll flower, and then you'll get the grapes coming down from them. And they're just gonna, some of these longer branches, these ones here, just gonna trim back down. And again, this one up here, just gonna trim back to 2 to 3 buds. So all of these ones here, just trimming them back so they're actually only 2 to 3 buds. So just trimming back some of the these little sticky bits on there. So just been trimming back some of the little sticky bits. Like up here, we've got this side shoot coming out, but we only need about 2 to 3 buds on there. And again, 2 to 3 buds. This one's coming out the wrong way anyway. Again, this one, trim that back to 2 to 3 buds. Trim that one back. What we're looking for is short, little stubby things, because they'll flower and then you'll get bunches of grapes. It can't support 3 or 4 bunches of grapes. We're only looking for like 1 bunch off of each set. So there's no point having all the extra buds there. So that is our job done, I believe. Just trim that bit off of there because that is just a bit of side wood. And as I say, as the season goes through, if it gets out of control, when we get long spurs coming off, of here, we will then trim them back to 2 to 3 buds. So that's still looking nice and lovely. So I'm going to go and clean the pruners again, and then we'll have a look at the honeyberry. So these are our honeyberry bushes. Now, honeyberry is a little bit like a blueberry. It's just like a elongated shape, and we got a reasonably poor crop off of these. And now all the leaves have gone and everything else, I can sort of see why. So, and you can see that it's just a mess. It's just a congested mess, and that's because we didn't really prune them last year. We just let them grow on because we were trying to get them to establish roots. So this year we're going to have to give them a good trim back, just to promote some growth and actually open up the insides. Otherwise, it's all very congested. So we'll start by just going through, same principle, we're going to just go through and trim out all the stuff that's inside and just open it up a bit. This one's coming through, this one's coming straight off the middle, this one's going straight up through the bush. This one again is just coming straight up through the bush. This is a bendy old stick, but this one's coming out there. That one is far too close to the other one. That's crossing over. This is coming into the bush next door. So we're just trying to open up the insides really. Problem with some of these bushes is that if you let them just do their own thing, they will just become brambly and all over the place, and then what will actually happen is the actual tree will just carry on growing and growing it, and actually it will end up getting to a point where it actually doesn't put on a great deal of new growth. So I'm just going to trim everything back a little bit. Let's just come around this side and have a look from this side. Right, so this is coming straight out into the path, so we don't really want that. Just going to trim these ones back. Like with most things, with most trimming is, particularly when they've been established and the roots have been established for a while, and especially when it comes to trees, you don't need to worry too much about trimming too hard. Those roots that are down there have been feeding and establishing this tree, this honeyberry bush, all last year. So the roots are still all good in there, and those roots want to feed something. So they'll actually want to feed something and grow something. So in actual fact, the more you trim these back, the more energy and vigor you'll put into the actual plant. Okay, so at the top here there's a lot of crossover going on. So we're going to trim all these bits out. This branch is crossing over with this one. Let's take that one out. Let's take this under branch out. We probably want to go up that way. Actually, we'll take that one down a bit more. And we might actually take that one out from there. And take that bit more. And take that one. So, there we go, from a bit of a mess. Have a quick look at that and see where we're doing. We've still got quite a bit of crossover going on down here. Far too much cluster going on. And again, these ones are going into the branch above them. These ones are crossing over with this branch. And there we go, that looks like a much healthier plant. So we will see whether we get a better crop off off that this year. So we've done that one, we're going to do this one, and then we'll be doing the same for the blueberries behind me. Again, with all of these things, what you're looking for is you're looking for buds that are facing in the direction you want. What you don't want to do is you want to cut, if I was to cut this, I don't want to cut it sort of down here, because there's a bud that's there, and that will just shoot up into here, whereas I want it to sort of grow out a bit. So just going to give it a bit of a haircut. Anything that's coming in congested in the middle. See this one here, now we've done it, it's nice and open in the middle, and hopefully we'll get some good fruit off of that this year. So we're just going to do this one. This one's growing way out of the way, so we're going to cut that down there, cut that one there. This one we're just going to cut back a little bit to invigorate this growth. This one and this one are interlocked. Let's take that one out. This one's going out through the middle. This one's coming out from the middle, but it's crossing over everything. It's a bit like sort of training anything, whether it's a pet or a plant. You need to give it instructions as to what you want it to do, otherwise it will just go wild. So let's come around to this side, see what's going on. There is far too much going on here. Let's take that one out. That's a big branch out. Right, we're going to take this one back to here because it gets in the way of the getting around the beds. Just going to trim this one out that's crossing over. We're going to trim that one right the way back. That one back. That one. That one. That one. That one. This is all very therapeutic. Give everything a good haircut. So there's two branches here. We'll just see which one we're going to keep. I think what we'll do is we'll take this one out. And keep this one, but not that part of it. So that's just trim those back, increase the growth. Again, we'll just take that back to there. This one's growing sort of into the tree. That one's growing into the bush. That one's growing into the bush. That one is growing into the bush. This one's growing into the bush. As is that one. As is this one down here. So that's this side sorted out. I think, just take that one back. We'll just take that one back so it faces outwards. That one, actually we'll take that one completely off because it's competing with others. This one's just coming straight up through the middle of the canopy. This one we'll trim to there. Trim that one down. This one's sort of facing the wrong direction. This one's crossing over with that one. What we might do is, this one is crossing over with loads, so we'll take that one out. And this one is sort of growing into this tree here. So what we're going to do is we'll take that one off and this one off, and then we'll trim that one back to there, and then this will come up into this area. Then at the top here we're just going to trim this back just to keep it in check. This one is crossing over that. this is like 3 different ones all together. Take that out. This one we just take it back to there, that one there, and take that one out. And I think that is looking a lot better. There's a couple of little branches down here. I'll take that one out as well. And these ones, I'd like them to come up. So, rather than going along the ground. This one we'll get rid of. This one we'll trim back. That one we'll get rid of. And over this far side, we're going to get rid of that one and that one. And hopefully that looks a lot better. They're a lot more open. There's not so much stuff going on in the middle here, which means we get nice airflow around. There's plenty of buds and everything else where they're leaf and flower. And we'll get a good crop off those this year. So check back later in the year and we'll see that. So I'm gonna go and give the pruners another good clean, do the blackberries, and I will see you again next time. Cheerio.